Welcome back to the Positive Tribe podcast.
Welcome.
I'm Daniel.
Shanna.
I'm Derek.
And we are going to be talking about happiness and joy. What brings it to us? What is it that makes us happy?
It's a good question. I had to think about this.
Well, the thing is everybody has their own definition of happiness.
Yeah.
What brings them joy? What brings them happiness? Because it could be anything that, when you think about it, gives you butterflies in your stomach. Could be things that just put a smile on your face, or just things that just help you just relax.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like everybody wants some joy in their life, right? Like what's something that brings you joy? What?
When I was thinking about this, I really had to think. I'm like, what makes me happy? But I think my answer would be, a good positive mindset. Not being too stressed out or anything, which is what we talked about on our last podcast, and I love that. But being in good physical health, not being sick, not being down physically. But I don't know. I think just that mental and physical freedom is kind of what brings me my
Knowing that you can go and do something, whatever you want to do, because you're not being hampered.
I'm not bound down.
Yeah, exactly. Gotcha. That's a good one. What about you?
I agree with that. I'm the same way. I've had so many times where I've been so sick and missed out on all the stuff. So for me, when I'm feeling good and be able to go do stuff, is that. But then also things like simple things like rainy days, or reading a book, or spending time with my husband and our kids, and just getting out and doing stuff and enjoying life. Kind of those things.
Now,
What about you?
Now, me on the other hand, it's like I like I've said in pretty much every one of these is I like to just go out and adventure and seek and find new things. It's like it's always about finding the next cool thing not really the cool thing, because I'm not a hipster. I'm not like trying to stay up with everyone, but it's like just new to me, just a new to me thing where it's like, oh, I haven't hiked this hill over here. That sounds like fun. I want to try that.
Yeah.
And it's going out and just new experiences.
Yeah.
That's what I'm, kind of makes me happy. And, doing it with family, doing it with friends, doing it, even by myself, just those new experiences. It's kind of that thrilling, it's just thrilling, and
thrill.
That brings joy and happiness and all those, everything that you want.
I think, just real quick, a thought that I had, I think, like everything we talk about on our podcast, I think just the very thought of this, people take for granted that, because myself, when we're talking about this, I'm like, what makes me happy? Like, what do I like? What do I enjoy? And I think people need to slow life down, like we've talked about constantly, and kind of dive into that thought of what makes them happy, or what is happiness or joy to them. So,
interesting. So what's one way that we can kind of find that joy, though? Like, because I know when everybody has their schedules and everything that they're focusing on it, and they're like, oh, I don't have time to go and do any of this. Like, what's a good way to help, kind of, even if you have to schedule it in? Like,
well, that's what I was going to say. I don't think there's a right answer other than just doing it, because, I'll give an example for myself. When I was in high school, I loved to weld. I took some welding shop classes, but that was the last time I ever welded. And when we were talking about starting this podcast and what makes us happy and stuff, I mentioned it to Mandy, and she's like, well, why don't you take a welding class? I'm like, well, why don't I? So I hired this guy. He's a shop teacher over at a high school that's in my hometown, and I hired him, and I take private classes from him, and it's so enjoyable to me. I look forward to doing that welding class every week, and so I just had it scheduled in. I had to set aside a day once a week and just do it. So
that's awesome, because you knew it brought you joy back then.
Exactly.
So you're like, oh, it's going to bring me joy.
Yeah. And if it doesn't, at least I know now. But it does, so I enjoy it.
That's awesome.
Well, you can make us a little go-kart.
I know, exactly. I'm going to weld. What do you guys want me to weld up?
That's awesome. That's a great way.
I think it's just setting time aside,
because that actually goes into some other stuff we've talked about in the past too, where it's like just learning new things is bringing positivity into your life, because you're expanding yourself, not in just seeing more positivity, but you're building yourself up.
Yep.
And because it's much better to build yourself up than tear yourself down.
Yeah. And it's
So-
easy to do both. But-
Yeah.
So which one?
Exactly.
So
What do you guys think, though, real quick? What are some other ways, or do you think it's just that, making?
Well, the thing is it's like making the time isn't just, but it's how to turn your day-to-day stuff into something that you enjoy.
Yeah,
Even like,
that's true.
because everybody it can, let's say you have a desk job, you go in, you sit down at your desk, you do your work, you go home. What can you do to just liven up your desk a little bit?
Yeah.
Bring something in that you enjoy. Like for us, it's like we're going to start putting stuff up back here that we enjoy.
Yeah.
Things that bring us joy. We're going to start like, what movies? Do you like any movies? What are your favorite movies, TV shows, that sort of?
Count of Monte Cristo. It's always got like that. Dude, it's such a good one.
I was actually just talking with one of my coworkers about that.
Really?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing we said. But there's like, we can find little memorabilias and things that go with us, with our interests, and we can put it up here.
Yeah.
And that'll help bring us more joy here because we're like, yeah, this is an expression of us.
Exactly.
So it's like, and then I know your interests are pretty much in line with mine for most of it, but then there's a few that you like.
Like Harry Potter.
I like Harry Potter. But yeah, it's like those things so we're going to start putting up a few things here and there, and you guys should look for them, see if you can find out what they are, and if you can figure them out, you should put them in the comments.
Yep.
We don't have any up right now, but watch for it.
They'll come.
yeah,
Because it's like, I feel that just improving the space that you're in all the time is going to improve you.
Yep.
And be able to enjoy those little joys.
And if you don't like something about the situation you're in, you can always change it too. I mean, you got to find ways to make your life fulfilled and to find happiness and joy. And if it's not working for you, try something else. Life is, I don't know. My motto now is kind of like, life is too short to not be happy.
Yeah.
It really is.
And that's like, so at my place of work, it's like, because this is all just on the side. This is just what we like to do on the weekends, this podcast. And we want to build that up and make it more so that we can help more during the week. But it's like, I've got a day job. You've got you've got businesses to run.
Yeah.
And it's like, we've got stuff we do. And the ways that I make it, I've got a Doctor Who sticker on the back of my work truck, It's like, it's just a little thing that ties me into it. And then it's like the camaraderie we have at work. We talk and we express ourselves, and we're really a tight-knit family at my job. And just that little bit of camaraderie builds up that joy and that happiness to make you want to go back to work.
Yeah.
Because so it's just those little things that help a lot.
Yeah.
And it helps overcome the stresses and stuff, because at work it stresses and stuff, but just that little bit of joy helps all that.
So one last question I think might be a little difficult, at least for me, as I was thinking about it. I'm not sure how this would be answered, but how would you find joy in a very, very difficult situation? Like a lost loved one, or you lost your job and you're unemployed. I don't know. What's a good way to look for joy in something very, very difficult?
So in the loss of a loved one. So I lost my dad when I was in junior high, just getting junior high school. And the reason why I don't know exactly is because it's all as one when I was a kid. But so I lost my father, and it's like when we lost him, it was of cancer and everything, and we still had family. It's like losing someone isn't easy at all. I'm not gonna lie, but it's the remembering the good times you had with them. And it's like, so with my father, we used to work on this old truck, and I have it out front. I still use it, still drive it, still work on it, and that really ties a lot of those good memories that I have. And it's not, losing someone is always going to be that negative draw, because it's saddening and it's all this, but you should focus on the good that came from that person, not what is current in the situation.
Yeah.
Because everybody dies under different circumstances, and it's like, you just need to remember the good, if you can focus on the good, then you're at least remembering who and what that person stood for.
That's probably right. We all know that's what they want too.
Yeah. So exactly, because it's like, I know when I pass, I don't want everybody to be like, oh, you know, he was a jerk, he was this, he was that. You know, it's like, I want them to be like, hey, you know, he was a good guy. I want them to continue whatever legacy I start.
Right.
You know, and so it's like, just try and find the bits of joy. Just try and find that joy and happiness, that positivity that was brought from that situation or precursors that situation.
Right.
At least that when it comes to a death of a family member, that's kind of where
I think that could be incorporated into anything.
Yeah.
And but like a loss of job though, to find the joy in that is just to find what you really like to do in life and go for it.
You invent yourself.
Exactly.
You can try and start your own business. You can try and find another job that you enjoy more.
Yeah.
So,
or even if you
skill.
Yeah.
Or even if you like the industry you were in, you can always go to another job within that industry.
Yeah.
And it's just turning that negative situation into a learning experience and overcoming that experience.
I think we just summed up the positive tribe, because that's what we are. Focusing on the good instead of the negative, really. And like I just mentioned, you're going to do one or the other, so you might as well practice your mindset of focusing on the good. So
yeah, because then even in negative situations, you're still going to have that little glimmer of positivity there that's going to help push you through.
There's always something positive to focus on.
Yep. And like just trying to find that though, that is kind of hard, in some situations. So,
but it's always there.
So, well, is there anything else you want to bring up, or sums it up? I was like, we did that. So that was pretty much sums up what we were trying to bring in this particular video, and we appreciate you guys watching. And once again, Derek, Shanna, Daniel, we are the Positive Tribe, and thanks for following, and we hope to see you in the next.
See you guys.